So, next stop on this unexplained and creepy videos list, we have a drone that just revealed that something massive just hit and left a huge crater in Nigeria. So we're gonna check this out. If you new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and join the fam. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what they're trying to hide out. They might be trying to hide something.
Something strange has unfolded in Nigeria, with residents questioning the true nature of the event. It's been reported that a space object just struck Akure in Nigeria. What's bizarre, though, is that although whatever hit the region left a huge crater, with residents saying that a loud noise was heard from miles away, no media outlets reported on this. Locals stated that a professor of the Department of Geology, Earthquake and Space Weather Laboratory said that...
That's weird. Huge, loud bang, huge crater, no media coverage, no news, no nothing. Then I have to start evaluating, where are we? You know what I mean? Is this a site? Is this some type of government site we ain't supposed to know about?
That a professor of the Department of Geology, Earthquake and Space Weather Laboratory said that a space object made contact with the Earth. The professor reported that when he heard the loud noise, he immediately jumped straight into his car and drove to the impact site. Before arriving on the scene, he picked up some of his research team so that they could conduct further research and work out what had impacted the area. According to the professor, he carried out a detailed analysis of the impact site. The research team discovered that an object had left an impact crater that measured over 21 meters in diameter and 8 meters in depth. They also noted that all around the edges of the crater, water and other substances were oozing out. Locals said that water could be seen oozing out from the edges of the crater and that the impact site was contained to one area. The team managed to collect soil samples and have said that they will be conducting further tests. After their initial investigation, they found that the blast covered over 1 kilometer or 0.6 miles. Oddly enough, there was no damage to the surrounding area. Another twist in the story was that it was soon reported that it wasn't an asteroid that struck Nigeria, with some suggesting that something was detonated in the area, with other locals saying,
"What did I say? I couldn't tell if it was something detonated or not, but you know what I mean? It's in the back of your mind, but you don't know what type of site." So to hear the dude say he jumped up out of his bed and then rushed to the scene, picked up some of his crew members, but rushed to the scene, I was thinking to myself, now, I wouldn't do that. That don't sound smart. No, that don't sound smart at all. You just rushed in. You don't even know what you rushing in on. So quick to be first. I think that's what's getting a lot of people. So quick to be first to the story or report the story. Want to be first, want to be first, want to be first. Fam, you want to be safe. How about that first?
Another twist in the story was that it was soon reported that it wasn't an asteroid that struck Nigeria, with some suggesting that something was detonated in the area, with other locals saying that black trucks could be seen in the area and said it was like they were looking for something. Another resident who was close to the region said the following: "There were blacked out vehicles driving along the road looking for something. Only a few of us saw this, but not long after a loud sound could be heard." End quote. Some residents said that this wasn't caused by an asteroid, as no other area outside of the impact zone was affected, and this is backed up by scientists who said that an asteroid of this size would have caused much more damage.
Here's another question, and I know I got mad questions, but so what? That's what we're here for. Like, when I was in the fire department, that zone right there, I guarantee nobody up there is wearing like a mask. They don't even know what they're breathing in. Like, how you just run up on a scene. We be so curious that we run up and we be inhaling some stuff that can have some long-term effect or damage on us, bro. Now, we can't see from this aerial view, but I'd be willing to bet any amount of money that none of them have a mask on. Not saying it's toxic what they breathing in, but you gotta be safe than sorry.
Who said that an asteroid of this size would have caused much more damage. Locals said the asteroid theory was pushed in order to cover something up, in order to not worry the locals.
Really?
Staying on the subject of mysterious findings, back in 2018, various news outlets reported that a mysterious discovery had been made close to a fishing village in Khabarovsk. The individuals who made the discovery found a large bag embedded in the snow, but once they opened the bag, they couldn't believe what they found. Inside the bag was 54 hands. What's odd about this discovery is that those living in the region said that this isn't the first time that this has happened, and said that previously a single hand had been found in the mountains. Shortly after this discovery, more hands were found close by. Investigators were then called to the scene in the hopes that they could make some sense of it all. After interviewing locals around the fishing village, they said that there hadn't been any strange activity in the area. The investigators then laid out all the hands in the snow, and it was then that they discovered that 27 of them matched. The investigators started to put forward ideas to try and explain the strange incident, but they couldn't come up with anything that would explain why the bag was buried deep in the snow. Some put forward their own theories to explain what had happened. However, after further investigations, researchers said that they think they know the reason behind why the hands were found the way they were. The explanation they gave was that they could have come from a local medical centre. Why they were placed in a bag and buried in the snow is still not known.
Impact crater mysteries. Our moon features a gigantic crater. This hole has been on our moon for billions of years, since an unknown object hit the dark side of the moon. We have measured this crater to reach 1,550 miles in width and 8 miles in depth, and so have dubbed it one of the largest craters within our solar system. The presumed explanation for decades was simply that this crater was formed when contact was made between the moon and a rapidly paced meteor. If this had been the case, then there would be pieces from the inside of the moon on the surface possibly available to examine. Some new insight was provided in January 2019, when the U2 rover was sent to the moon from China, which reached the bottom of this mysterious crater. Minute traces of minerals were recorded by U2 too, which appear to have come from within the moon's mantle. In a turn of events, new data came to light within August 2019 from a study published within Geophysical Research Letters. After an analysis was conducted upon the materials found at the bottom of this peculiar crater, it revealed evidence suggesting that the crater was composed entirely of crust, with no mantle. The crust is the outer layer surface of the moon, with the mantle coming just underneath that, similar to Earth. This would imply that an object collided with the moon with enough force to open a colossal crater, but with not enough force to release any of the mantle onto the surface of the moon.
Wow.
Co-author of the new study, Qiao Zhang, planetary scientist working at the China University of Geosciences, explained how the team had anticipated finding the mantle materials at this landing site. He goes on to explain that the lack of mantle organisms rules out the possibility that a meteor travelling with high velocity had caused this crater, eliminating an assumption we had been acting upon for decades. This study employed the use of spectroscopy in order to clarify and identify the minerals that had been found within the lunar soil. This process observes how each grain is reflected within both visible and near-infrared light. This study was carried out using the equipment U-22 was already armed with, performing these reflection tests on 6 different areas of soil, ranging up to approximately 175 feet away from the landing site. An already established database allowed each mineral to be identified based upon size, reflectance, and degradation, which often occurs as a result of solar wind. Within every sample, it was evident that the primary mineral in the moon's surface is plagioclase. We know this is common in the crusts of Earth and the moon, but that it isn't likely to be found within the mantle. This mineral composition supports the meteor theory, but then the unanswered question remains as to what created this crater. If it were a meteor, then why aren't there chunks of mantle over the surface?
Good point.
Mountain madness found to be a real psychosis. Imagine you are a lone mountaineer, and suddenly you hear a voice and someone begins to follow you. This is far from abnormal and is in fact a terrifying reality for many climbers. Although hallucinations have always been common with high altitudes, the phenomenon was initially thought to be a form of altitude sickness. These climbing-based psychotic episodes, known as mountain madness, are now considered to be a very real form of psychosis.
Wow.
It is extremely common for climbers to lose touch with reality, seeing movement where there is none and hearing human voices and music in silence. These visual and auditory symptoms are prevalent for mountaineers at high altitudes. The other phenomenon that these people often experience is
I would think at the height that some of these mountains go to, and I'm climbing them, I don't want to get up there and start hallucinating. That's the wrong time to start hallucinating and start thinking I'm hearing voices. Are you kidding? I had no idea that was possible. So now I'm looking at all these mountain climbers, a little bit funny now. Y'all know this and you still... I get the challenge and everything like that, beating your chest once you get to the top because you conquered this beast, but fam, just the possibility of hallucinating without being on something just because you're up at these altitudes, and I ain't playing around like that.
Somacetic illusion called the third man factor, where they believe they are climbing with someone else. The study of this phenomenon is continuing by emergency medicine doctors from URAC Research and the Medical University of Innsbruck. Findings have confirmed that the symptoms are unrelated to typical ailments that come from high altitudes, but are entirely psychotic.
The only time I want to feel like I'm traveling with somebody who ain't there is in a spiritual sense. If it ain't that, then no, thank you. You're already dealing with the elements. Now you got this added.
Related to typical ailments that come from high altitudes, but are entirely psychotic. This mountain madness is now formally known as isolated high-altitude psychosis. In reaching this conclusion, researchers analyzed 83 psychotic episodes found in German mountaineer literature. The first-hand findings of one of the researchers when climbing Everest also contributed to the findings. When Dr. Jeremy Windsor climbed Everest in 2008, at an altitude of over 5.1 miles, Dr. Windsor was met by a man named Jimmy. Jimmy climbed side by side with Dr. Windsor, providing words of encouragement and support. The two spoke all day while they continued their climb when suddenly Jimmy vanished without a trace. It is now known that Dr. Windsor hallucinated Jimmy as a symptom of isolated high-altitude psychosis. Most often, these symptoms start to appear when climbers reach over 23,000 feet above sea level.
How do you even mentally snap out of that or recover when you get back down and you try to go on and resume life? How do you got to go lay down on a couch somewhere. You need a therapist because ain't no way you just going to be able to just go on with life like that never happened. And then I wonder how combative is the person that's, the actual climber. I wonder how combative he is when people tell him, you were probably hallucinating, right? I wonder how combative they become, how angry they become. Because to them, I guarantee you, it probably feels more real than anything they've ever experienced. So you probably can't tell them it didn't happen.
A symptom of isolated high-altitude psychosis.
That's crazy.
Most often, these symptoms start to appear when climbers reach over 23,000 feet above sea level. The only cure for these symptoms is to descend the mountain. There have been no lasting effects of this form of psychosis, and people return to their normal state immediately once they reach a lower altitude. Scientists suspect that this psychosis is due to reduced oxygen levels in the brain, stress, isolation, or a combination of these. But unfortunately, the cause behind these symptoms remains unconfirmed. There is no evidence of the frequency of these symptoms, or if certain people are more susceptible to isolated high-altitude psychosis than others. Researchers hope to uncover more about this mountain madness because of the dangerous nature of hallucinations and psychosis while navigating treacherous terrains.
So, what do you make of these mysteries and discoveries? What do you think caused this impact crater in Nigeria? And why do you think that black vehicles were seen in the area soon after the event took place? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.
Listen, I never had any want or need to climb a mountain or something like that. Never had, but I'm not knocking anybody who has. But to know that's a factor, bro, I don't see how anybody could tackle that beast. I honestly don't. That's scary. Like, you already gotta be on point climbing a mountain. You know what I mean? There's no room for any type of error at all. So to know you have this that could also sneak up on you, no thank you. No thank you. And then as far as this crater goes in Nigeria, man, you can see from this picture right here, look. Dude down here with his hands on his hips. No type of breathing apparatus or anything. So everybody who's here, what if they find out there's some type of gas that was here that was being released or something like that? Everybody here in this picture is now in danger. Scary, because we want to see what's going on. We got to be careful, y'all. Seriously. I know I joke around with it a little bit, you know what I mean? Because videos for entertainment, but at the same time, I'm being serious, man. We can't just run up on something and just because we want to see what it is, man. We got to think about it. You know what I mean? Making sure you're uphill, upwind. That's one of the things we used to have to talk about being in the fire service. Uphill, upwind, if at all possible. That's all I'm saying. But y'all get at me in the comment section, man, and let me know what you thought of this video. And stick around and stay tuned. The next one I'm gone. Peace.